UMaine's political science chair says an October surprise could tip the scales of the historically close race. Mark Brewer is referring to something unknown popping up that impacts the election. There are examples in the last few presidential elections of major stories developing down the home stretch.
Whether anything will happen, we don't know. And then if it does happen, what the reaction will be, it's almost impossible to gauge, right? You have to wait to see what it is and then watch how it unfolds. I mean, in 2016, for example, I continue to believe, that the announcement of an FBI investigation into Hillary Clinton's email servers was hugely detrimental to her campaign. Was it the reason she lost? That's probably going a bit too far, but it certainly didn't help her, that's for sure.
Other recent examples include the release of the audio of former President Trump speaking with TV host Billy Bush ahead of that 2016 election, or Trump contracting COVID about a month before the 2020 election.